The once promising trajectory of Meghan Markle's post-royal career has taken a sharp and disappointing downturn, highlighted by a cascade of negative reviews and a particularly biting public rebuke from none other than Tom Ford, a heavyweight in the fashion world. Ford's scathing assessment of Markle's various ventures, her podcast Confessions of a Female Founder, her upcoming Netflix cooking show, and her lifestyle brand Ever, has served as a harsh reflection of a broader industry disillusionment with the Duchess of Sussex. These criticisms are not just fodder for tabloids but represent a significant shift in public perception, revealing a disconnect between Markle's carefully crafted public image and the reality of her creative output. Let's break down her individual projects, each one serving as a symbol of a broader issue that Markle's post-royal career is facing. Confessions of a Female Founder, initially hyped as a triumphant return to the audio world after the termination of her Spotify deal, quickly devolved into a source of widespread mockery. The podcast, which was supposed to be a platform for the stories of female entrepreneurs, quickly became more of a vehicle for Markle's own self-promotion. Insiders report a disturbing pattern: recycled talking points, frequent interruptions to steer conversations back to Markle's personal experiences, and a scripted, almost inauthentic tone. Critics have pointed out that the show, rather than empowering women as intended, feels self-congratulatory, with little substance to back up its grand claims. The lukewarm public reception, evidenced by plummeting ratings and a dramatic drop in social media engagement, speaks volumes about the podcast's failure to connect with its target audience. The revelation that many of the interviews on the podcast were not conducted by Markle herself, but rather by a producer, has further eroded the show's credibility. Listeners, who tuned in hoping to hear genuine conversations with entrepreneurial women, were left with a sense of betrayal. What was billed as a personal and intimate project turned out to be an exercise in distance and disconnection. This failure isn't merely a matter of poor execution. It represents a fundamental misunderstanding of the podcasting landscape and an even deeper disconnect between Markle's lofty aspirations and her ability to deliver on them. Markle's upcoming Netflix cooking show, still shrouded in mystery, seems to be following a similar trajectory. Early test footage, according to industry insiders, has been met with widespread negativity. Described as awkwardly stiff, over-directed, and ultimately unwatchable, Markle's attempt to emulate the style of culinary icons like Martha Stewart appears to have fallen flat. The irony is palpable. Markle, who has long positioned herself as a proponent of relatable and authentic living, comes across as robotic and performative on screen. Her focus, it seems, is misplaced, as she spends more time showing off designer kitchenware than actually showcasing culinary artistry. The recipes are reportedly basic and uninspired, the guests unimpressed, and even the supposed candid moments feel forced and contrived. To make matters worse, the show is set against the backdrop of Markle's $14 million Montecito mansion, featuring $200 blenders and $500 olive oil, further underscoring the disconnect between Markle's supposed message of accessible, authentic living and the reality of her elite lifestyle. Critics have slammed the show for its tone-deaf portrayal of wealth, accusing Markle of using her platform to promote an aspirational image that feels entirely out of touch with the average viewer. Adding fuel to the fire is Markle's lifestyle brand Ever, which was intended to be a bold new venture combining wellness, homewares, and intentional living. Instead, it has been widely panned as a catastrophic misfire. From overpriced products, $400 jam jars and $150 crystals, to vague, often nonsensical descriptions on its website, Ever has alienated potential customers. Critics have compared it unfavorably to Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop brand, noting that while Goop has established a semblance of credibility, Ever lacks that same authenticity and is riddled with internal contradictions. The brand's reliance on overused wellness buzzwords and its failure to create a clear identity have left many wondering what Markle was even trying to achieve with the venture. Tom Ford's reportedly harsh comments on Markle's various projects, while not officially confirmed, have sent shockwaves through the industry. Calling Markle's podcast trash and her cooking show the worst thing I've ever seen, Ford's comments are a damning critique of Markle's overall brand. His sharp words are not just the opinion of a single individual. They reflect a growing sentiment within the industry. Ford, a respected tastemaker with an unflinching reputation for honesty, has made it clear that Markle's creative endeavors fall short of the standards expected in both the fashion and entertainment worlds. Ford's critique isn't limited to the individual projects. It targets the very essence of Markle's brand. His remarks point to the core issue, a perceived inauthenticity, a lack of originality, and a reliance on superficial aesthetics over genuine substance. Markle, who has carefully curated her public image as an advocate for social causes and women's empowerment, is now being seen as someone who fails to live up to those ideals. What is particularly telling is the growing silence from Markle's once close celebrity allies. Figures like Serena Williams, Oprah Winfrey, and Tyler Perry, who once offered strong public support for Markle, have distanced themselves from her in the wake of her series of failures. Hollywood operates within a web of loyalty, brand risk, and mutual promotion, and Markle's recent string of missteps has made even her staunchest supporters hesitant to publicly endorse her. This shift in allegiance speaks volumes about how Markle is now perceived within the entertainment industry. No longer seen as a rising star, she has become a potential brand hazard, someone whose association carries risk. The cumulative effect of these criticisms paints a grim picture of Markle's post-royal endeavors. Her attempts at building a media empire fueled by self-promotion and a carefully curated image have faltered. The lack of genuine talent, creative vision, and authenticity has alienated both her audience and industry professionals alike. Tom Ford's comments, therefore, are not merely gossip or personal opinion. They represent a broader cultural verdict, a statement that, in the entertainment and fashion worlds, substance still matters. Empty branding, faux empowerment, and recycled cliches are no longer tolerated. The once captivating mystique surrounding Markle has evaporated. Her carefully constructed brand has begun to crack, and the legacy of failed projects and tarnished reputation is starting to overshadow her earlier successes. If these trends continue, the final act of the Meghan Markle show seems destined to be a bitter one. A fading star who could not translate her royal fame into sustained post-royal success. The rise and fall of Meghan Markle's post-royal career serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of relying too heavily on a constructed public image without the necessary substance to back it up. What's clear now is that the world of media and fashion is unforgiving, and while fame may offer opportunities, it cannot shield anyone from the harsh realities of failure. Markle's journey seems to be coming to a close, and the question now is whether she can salvage any part of her legacy, or whether her ventures will ultimately fade